biology, the scientific study of life. It's plant structure, growth, and development. Notice this figure, an overview of a flowering plant. Notice that shoot system and root system. Notice that reproductive shoot flower, terminal bud, node, internode, terminal bud, vegetative shoot, blood, blade, petiole, axillary bud, stem, taproot, literal root. Notice the root hairs and root tip growing by the thousands just behind each root tip. Root hairs increase the surface area for the absorption of water and minerals by the roots. Notice also the modified roots. These are the modified. Let's start with maize root. The aerial roots shown here in maize are examples of prop roots, so named because they support tall, top-heavy plants. All roots of a mature maize plant are adventitious after the original roots die. The emergent roots shown here will eventually penetrate the soil. Notice B. Storage roots. Many plants such as sweet potatoes store food and water in their roots. Notice strangling aerial roots. The seeds of this strangler fig germinates in the branches of tall trees and send numerous aerial roots to the ground. These snake-like roots gradually wrap around the hosts and objects such as this Cambodian temple ruins. Eventually, the host tree dies of strangulation and shading. Another roots or modifying buttress roots, aerial roots that look like buttresses, support the tall trunks of some tropical trees such as this ceiba tree in Central America. Notice. Also Pneumatophores, also known as air roots. Pneumatophores are produced by trees such as mangroves that inhibit tidal swims by projecting above the surface. Even they enable the root system to obtain oxygen, which is lacking in the thick waterlogged mud. Notice that. Modified stems. Stems shown here on the strawberry plants. Stolons are horizontal stems that grow along the surface. These runners enable plant to reproduce asexually as plantlets from nodes along each runner. Notice also the rhizomes. The edible base of this ginger plant is an example of a rhizome, a horizontal stem that grows just below the surface or emerges and grows along the surface. Notice that node, rhizome, root. See tubers such as these red potatoes are enlarged ends of rhizomes specialized for storing food. The eyes, arranged in a spiral patterns around the potato, are clusters of axillary buds that make the nodes. And bulbs are vertical underground shoots consisting mostly of the enlarged bases of leaves that store food. You can see the many layers of modified leaves attached to the short stem by slicing an onion bulb lengthwise. Notice also the differences or modified leaves. There are three sides or three forms. The first one is simple leaves, as shown here, petiole, auxiliary buds. And notice also two compound leaf. In a compound leaf, the blade consists of multiple leaflets. Notice that a leaflet has no auxiliary bud at its base. Notice that. A double compound leaf. In a double compound leaf, each leaflet is divided into smaller leaflets, and these are examples of the simple versus compound leaves. Notice you can distinguish simple leaves from compound leaves by looking for axillary buds. Each leaf has only one axillary bud where the petiole attaches to the stem. Notice that also the storage leaves, the spines and tendrils, and reproductive leaves, bracts, storage. Also, these are the examples of forms or modified leaves. The tendrils by which pea plants clings to a support are modified leaves. After it has less support, tendril forms a coil that brings the plant closer to the support. Tendrils are typically modified leaves, but some tendrils are modified stems, as in grapevines. Notice spines. These spines are such as shown is carried out mainly by the fleshy green stems. And storage leaves must succulents such as this ice plant have leaves modified for storing water. And notice also the tissue, their tissue, or the three tissue systems: dermal, vascular, and the ground. The three tissue systems: the dermal tissue system, blue, covers the entire body of a plant. The vascular tissue system, purple, is also continuous through the plant, but it is arranged differently in each organ. The ground tissue system, yellow, responsible for most of the plant's metabolic functions, is located between the dermal tissue and the vascular tissue in each organ. A closer look: examples of differentiated plant cells. First one, notice the differentiated cells of each example: parenchyma cells and collenchyma cells, fiber cells. Notice also the water conducting cells of the xylem. Notice also the vessel elements with perforated end walls, as shown here, and sugar conducting cells of the phloem, and its tube members. A closer look to primary growth in stems. Primary, secondary growth, also secondary growth in stems. Closer look. Primary growth of roots, also the epidermis, cortex, vascular cylinder, root hair, zone of maturation, apical meristem, root cap, and zone of cell division, zone of elongation, zone of maturation. Notice also three layers growth in winter twig: terminal bud, base scale, auxiliary buds, leaf scale, stem, internode, node. Notice leaf scale, last year's growth 2 years old. Notice also the growth of 2 years ago 3. Notice the differentiation here.